on the list, I have manganese sulfate. Now, I know a lot of people are familiar with magnesium sulfate, but manganese sulfate, a little bit different. Talk to us about that.
Yes, so very important you don't confuse the two. Let's start there because manganese is very different than magnesium. If you were to apply manganese sulfate at the rates you apply magnesium sulfate, you would get in a lot of trouble. So manganese is a trace element that all plants need. It performs a bunch of different specific plant functions, but you need parts per million of it. So you don't need very much. And what we found more recently with our soil testing is that that plants are utilizing a fair amount of manganese, and so we're applying it. Like I just re-amended my grow space, and I applied two teaspoons per yard of soil to give you an idea on a rate. And that, because I can't sprinkle that in evenly, I add it to water, I dissolve it, and then I water that in. And that's going to be all the manganese requirement I'll need for a whole cycle, just to give you guys an idea of how little we're using. But based on the tissue testing and the soil testing, we are seeing some manganese deficiencies or hunger that we want to address by just adding a tiny bit more.
Okay. And technically, this is a salt, right? You got two elements that are bound together. The manganese sulfate, it's salt. And a lot of people just associate salts with synthetic. However, there are all natural salts, and this is one of them, right? Do you know the source of this magnesium sulfate? Or I said it wrong there. Manganese sulfate?
Yeah, so a lot of these products are mined and then refined, and it's that refining process that technically people have issue with in terms of the fact that it is a sulfate. But keep in mind that gypsum is also a sulfate. It's calcium sulfate. Magnesium sulfate, Epsom salt is also a sulfate. So all of these things are mined products. They are approved for use in organic production if you can show a deficiency on your soil test. So it's not something that I necessarily shy away from because it's the easiest way to get targeted available manganese for my plant. But there are other ways. You will get some manganese potentially from various compost sources, rock dusts, kelp meal. You're bringing in other sources, other nutrients at the same time, and you're also bringing in more contamination and heavy metals. So you got to make a choice there as to what you're comfortable with as a grower and using in your grow. And honestly, if you didn't use manganese, you probably wouldn't see a visible difference in your plant, but we are seeing it in the tissue testing that the plant is taking it up and is utilizing it.
This clip is brought to you by AC Infinity. Use discount code MrGrow at 15 to save on any of their products.